Hopefully by now we understand how to do these questions. 15 through 20 are the same types of questions, just different scenarios. All right, so George is a mechanic. He earns a regular hourly rate of $15.68. For overtime, he gets time and a half on Saturdays and double time on Sundays. So if he works on a Saturday, he gets time and a half. If he works on Sunday, he gets paid double his regular amount. This week, he worked his regular 40 hours. He worked 8 hours on Saturday and 7 hours on Sunday. We're going to find what George's total pay is. First things first, like we've been doing, is finding the straight time pay. Straight time pay is his regular pay, which is $15.68, times his regular hours. It tells us that he works his regular 40 hours. In your calculator, if you do 1568 times 40, you're going to get $627.20. Next, we find his overtime pay. Now remember, George gets paid different overtime amounts for Saturday and Sunday, so I'm going to split this kind of in two. On Saturday, he worked 8 hours, right? His overtime on Saturdays is time and a half. So we got to figure out what is his time and a half pay rate. We're going to multiply his regular pay times 1.5, like we've been doing. His overtime rate is going to be $23.52. When you multiply 8 times that, you're going to get a number. Next, he also worked on Sunday. He worked 7 hours on Sunday. His overtime rate on Sundays is double time. So he gets double his normal amount of pay. You're going to take his pay rate and multiply it times 2 for Sunday. If you type that in, 1568 times 2, you should get, not what I just got, $31.36. You're also going to multiply those two numbers. 7 times 31.36, and that's going to give you a number. This, I did not mean to erase. This number that you got here and this number that you got here, you're going to add those two numbers together to find his total overtime pay. The question doesn't ask for his overtime pay, though. It asks for his total pay. So once again, how do we find the total pay? Don't forget to add your straight time pay to that. Add all three of those boxes together. You have 2 days of overtime, so make sure you add those together. And you have this straight time pay. So add all three of those together, and that will give you your total pay. On 16, same steps. It's just we don't have people and stuff involved anymore. I honestly think that on these questions, let me just double check. I think we're all going to get different hours and different pay rates. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're all different. So I'm just going to work out one more example, and then hopefully by now you are able to get in there and answer these questions yourself by going through the steps, because there's no point in me going over all of them if we all have different ones for these, okay? So I'm going to do 16 just so we can do it one more example together. And then the rest you are going to have to do on your own simply because all of our numbers are going to be different. All right, so number 16 says calculate the straight time pay. No, sorry. Number 16 says calculate the overtime pay. I actually am going to have to do 2 more examples, and I see why. This question asks for the overtime pay. So notice that we're going to stop there. We don't have to find the total pay. It's not asking for the total pay. So we're going to stop after step 2. Oh, we're only going to do step 2. It's only asking for the overtime. We don't have to find the straight time. We don't have to find the total. It's only asking for the overtime pay. Before, it was asking for the total pay. So we had to go through step 1 and step 2. Okay? This one isn't asking for the total. It's only asking for overtime. So we only got to do this one step. All right, so to calculate the overtime pay, it says the regular work week is 40 hours, and the overtime is time and a half, right? That's what we already know. So remember, to find overtime pay, it's not this regular pay rate up here. We have to take this pay rate and multiply it times 1.5. So on my example, these are my numbers. Like I said, everybody's numbers are going to be different on this one. When I do 8.26 times 1.5, my overtime pay rate is $12.39. So that is the very first thing you need to do on your problem. It doesn't matter that your numbers are different. You have to figure out what is your overtime pay rate. Take your pay per hour and multiply it times 1.5. So now that we have our rate over here, I'm going to multiply that times how many overtime hours did we do. So now it tells us 50 hours right here, but 40 of those are regular. So think about it. If I worked with if I worked 50 hours and 40 of them are regular, how many of them are overtime? 10. So I'm going to take that 1239 and multiply it times 10. That's going to give me $123.90. Do you have to type the 0? No. You could stop right there. Oh, that was not a pretty square. You could stop at the 9. That's okay. So on that example, when it says calculate the overtime pay, be careful. You do not have to find the total. It's not asking for the total. It's only asking for the overtime, so we can stop right there. Now the next question, numbers 17, 18, 19, and 20, these are asking for the actual, my letters and words are not coming out. These ones are asking for the actual gross pay. Your gross pay is your total pay. So on these questions, you have to go through all 3 steps like we did before. First, you find the straight time pay. This person gets $9.98 per hour. I'm going to multiply it times 40 hours because the regular work week is 40 hours. Next, this person gets overtime. Well, the first thing I got to do to figure out overtime is figure out what their rate is. Overtime is time and a half, so you're going to multiply their pay times 1.5. This person gets $14.97 for overtime. And it tells us they're working 47 hours. If you work 47 hours and 40 of them are regular, how many of that is overtime? 7. So I'm going to take their overtime pay and multiply it times 7. To find the total pay, you're going to add the straight time pay plus the overtime pay. I can't work out everybody's example because everybody has a different number. But if you follow those steps written down, and if you do like we've done in all of these examples, you will get those last couple of questions correct. Also, I think I got you to at least like number 17. That's like at least an 80. No, it's not 80, but still, it's close. Okay? I got you far. You can answer these last couple questions on your own to make sure you get a 100. If you have any questions, send me an email in Canvas. Otherwise, have a great weekend, you guys, and I'll see you again next week.